Welcome to the Ballast Water Record Book, BWRB training, developed to align with the most recent IMO requirements, particularly IMO Circular BWM.2, Circ.8 0 Rev.1, which came into force on the 1st of February 2025. This training is designed to ensure all shipboard personnel involved in ballast water operations clearly understand how to properly fill out the BWRB, distinguish between routine and non-routine operations, and use the correct operation codes. Accurate record keeping is not only essential for compliance with the BWM Convention, but also for protecting the marine environment from the transfer of harmful aquatic species. Throughout this session, we'll cover the regulations, correct procedures, sample entries, and inspection expectations. Let's begin by understanding why this matters and how we, as a crew, play a vital role in this process. Our goal today is to ensure every officer and crew member involved in ballast water operations understands why the Ballast Water Record Book, or BWRB, is so critical. This training will help you understand its regulatory background, what specific international conventions apply, such as the BWM Convention and IMO Circular BWM.2, Circular .80 Revision.1, and who is responsible for checking compliance. We'll cover how to correctly record both routine operations, like taking in or discharging ballast water, and non-routine situations like emergency discharges or exemptions. You'll also learn the proper use of operation codes and what must be included for each entry. Things like time, tank, volume, location, method, and signatures. By the end of this session, you'll be familiar with the latest requirements effective from the 1st of February 2025 and confident in making compliant inspection-ready entries in the BWRB. This section gives us a clear view of the regulatory framework that governs the Ballast Water Record Book. It all starts with the Ballast Water Management Convention of 2004, an international treaty developed by the International Maritime Organization to prevent the transfer of invasive aquatic species through ballast water. This convention applies to all ships of 400 gross tonnage and above. Under Regulation B.2 of this convention, every applicable ship must maintain a ballast water record book, and these records must be kept on board for at least 2 years, with a further 3 years retained ashore by the company. What's new is the IMO Circular BWM.2/Circular 80/Revision 1, which took effect on the 1st of February 2025. This introduces standardized operation codes A1 to A4 for routine operations and X1 to X5 for non-routine events. It also aligns the format globally, so all ships report ballast water activities in a consistent manner. Additionally, the MEPC 37280 resolution allows ships to use electronic ballast water record books, but only if they are approved by the flag state. The ship must also carry a declaration confirming that the BWRB system complies with IMO standards. Understanding these regulations helps us stay compliant, avoid penalties, and protect marine environments. It's essential that we follow these rules closely because both routine and non-routine entries in the BWRB are subject to inspection by authorities at any time. Now let's talk about why the Ballast Water Record Book, BWRB, is so important on board. The purpose of this record book goes far beyond routine documentation. First and foremost, it ensures traceability of all ballast water operations. This means we have a clear record of what ballast water was taken, discharged, treated, or transferred, when, where, how much, and by whom. These records become critical when authorities investigate pollution claims or invasive species incidents. Secondly, the BWRB supports compliance with the ship's Ballast Water Management Plan, or BWMP. Every operation we perform should match the approved procedures outlined in that plan. This shows that our crew is not only aware of proper ballast handling procedures, but is also actively following them. The third reason is to demonstrate environmental responsibility. Accurate ballast management helps reduce the risk of transferring harmful marine species across regions. This isn't just a regulatory matter, it's about protecting the marine environment and maintaining sustainable practices at sea. Finally, the BWRB is a key document during inspections. Port state control, flag state surveys, and class auditors will check the book closely. Incomplete, late, or inconsistent entries can result in detentions or serious findings. So, maintaining the BWRB properly isn't optional. It's a professional and legal responsibility. In this section, we explain the two categories of ballast water operations you need to record in the Ballast Water Record Book: routine and non-routine. Routine operations are recorded under Section 2, using codes A1 to A4. These are your day-to-day activities: A1 for ballast water taken on board, A2 for ballast water discharged to sea, A3 for ballast water circulated within tanks, and A4 for ballast water treated using the onboard BWMS. Each of these should be recorded every time the operation occurs, with accurate details and proper code. Non-routine operations fall under Section 3, using codes X1 to X5. These are special or exceptional cases, such as X1 for accidental intake of ballast water, X2 for discharges under emergency or exemption, Regulation A3, X3 for discharge to an approved reception facility, X4 for operations under a voyage-specific exemption, Regulation A4, and X5 for discharges due to critical safety or pollution avoidance. These non-routine entries must include justification referencing the applicable regulation and must be verified by the master. This classification system ensures that all ballast operations are traceable, compliant, and defensible during audits or inspections. This section walks you through the correct method of making entries in the Ballast Water Record Book, following the revised IMO format set by Circular BWM.2 / Circular 80 / Revision 1. Each entry must be recorded using the proper operation code, such as A1 for routine intake or X3 for discharge to a reception facility. These codes are crucial because they standardize our reporting and make inspections more efficient and transparent. For every entry, you must clearly write the date and time of the operation, the identification and location of the tank, the volume of ballast water taken or discharged, the location where the operation was carried out, either port name or geographical coordinates, and the method used, such as ballast water exchange, BWE, or ballast water management system, BWMS. Finally, each entry must be signed with the initials and rank of the responsible officer, usually the chief officer or ballast operator. For non-routine entries, the master must verify and countersign. Accuracy and clarity are key. Mistakes, missing data, or unclear entries can lead to inspection deficiencies or even detentions. This section provides a real-world example of how to properly record a routine ballast water operation in the Ballast Water Record Book, BWRB, using the standardized IMO code system under BWM.2/Circular 80/Revision 1. In this example, the operation is A1, which stands for ballast water taken on board. The crew records that ballast water was taken into Double Bottom Ballast Tank 1, DBBT1, on 1st June 2025 at 1400 hours, while the vessel was located at Port Klang. The volume taken was 300 cubic meters, and the method used was ballast water exchange in the engine room, BWER. To complete the entry, the responsible officer, in this case Second Officer J. Tan, must sign or initial the record and include their rank. This ensures accountability and traceability for every operation, which is essential for audits and inspections. This slide helps the crew visualize how a correct entry looks, ensuring they understand how to fill out routine sections clearly, accurately, and in full compliance with the 2025 format. This section illustrates how to properly record a non-routine ballast water operation following the updated IMO Circular BWM.2/Circular 80/Revision 1. In this example, the operation is coded as X2-exceptional discharge, which refers to an unplanned release of ballast water due to emergency circumstances. The reason provided is BWTS failure during voyage, which falls under Regulation A-3, allowing discharge when necessary to protect the ship or the marine environment. The tank involved is SBT2, and the discharge occurred on March 6, 2025, between 1100 and 1145 hours, at the recorded coordinates latitude 0 degrees 45 minutes north, longitude 0 degrees 0 minutes east, 101 degrees 10 minutes east. Supporting environmental conditions such as sea height 1.2 meters and water depth 12 meters are included to provide operational context. The operation is signed by Chief Officer Zainal Abidin and verified by the master, as required for non-routine entries. This example emphasizes the importance of stating the specific regulation invoked, A-3, A-4, or B-3.6, providing clear justification for the deviation from standard procedures, completing all relevant fields, volume, tank, position, time, reason, ensuring both the responsible officer and master sign off. Recording non-routine events properly is vital for demonstrating regulatory compliance during inspections and audits. This section emphasizes the legal and administrative responsibilities for maintaining the Ballast Water Record Book, BWRB, after entries are made, under Regulation B-2 of the BWM Convention and as clarified in IMO Circular BWM.2/Circular 80/Revision 1, all BWRB entries must be retained on board for a minimum of 2 years from the date of the last entry. In addition, the ship's operating company must keep copies of these records ashore for another 3 years, ensuring traceability and accountability even after the voyage has ended. If an electronic ballast water record book, eBWRB, is used, it must be approved by the Flag Administration, and a formal declaration of compliance under MEPC 37280 must be maintained on board. This ensures that electronic systems are equivalent to paper records in legal standing. The BWRB must always be readily available for inspection by regulatory bodies such as Port State Control PSC, Flag State Surveyors, Classification Society auditors, and internal company auditors. Failure to produce accurate and complete records may result in detentions, fines, or regulatory findings. This slide serves as a reminder of the importance of proper documentation and retention for audit readiness and environmental accountability. Next is the outlines the key roles and responsibilities of the chief officer or ballast operator and the master in maintaining a compliant Ballast Water Record Book, BWRB. The chief officer is primarily responsible for recording all ballast water operations immediately after they occur. This includes using the correct IMO operation codes A1 to A4 for routine and X1 to X5 for non-routine, filling in accurate tank names, volumes, and locations, and ensuring consistency with the ship's Ballast Water Management Plan, BWM.2. Meanwhile, the master holds overall accountability for the accuracy of the BWRB and the ship's compliance with the Ballast Water Management Convention. The master must review and countersign non-routine entries, such as emergency discharges or operations under exemption, verify that the record book is up to date, and ensure the crew is properly trained in its use. These shared responsibilities help ensure that the BWRB meets international regulatory requirements, is always ready for inspection, and supports the vessel's commitment to environmental protection and operational transparency. This section presents a checklist of best practices to ensure accurate and compliant use of the Ballast Water Record Book, BWRB. Entries must be made immediately after each operation to avoid discrepancies or forgotten details. It is crucial to always use the correct operation codes, A1 to A4 for routine, X1 to X5 for non-routine, and verify that tank names and volumes match actual onboard activities. Accurate recording of time, date, and geographical location is essential, especially for demonstrating compliance during inspections. For non-routine operations, you must clearly explain the reason and regulation invoked. For example, stating if the discharge was done under an A3 exception or an A4 exemption. Entries must include the signature and rank of the responsible officer, and periodic log reviews should be conducted by senior officers or internal auditors to ensure consistency. Supporting documents such as incident reports or exemption letters should be retained and attached to the relevant entries. Blank spaces in the BWRB should be avoided. Use NIL or draw a line to indicate no operations were performed. Finally, crews must stay informed about updates to IMO circulars and BWM regulations, as failing to comply with the latest provisions can result in serious penalties during port state control or flag inspections. This final section recaps the essential takeaways of the Ballast Water Record Book, BWRB, training. The BWRB is more than just a formality. It is a legal document under international maritime law, specifically the Ballast Water Management, BWM Convention, and its related circulars such as IMO BWM.2/Circular 80/Revision 1. Each entry must be recorded accurately using standardized operation codes, A1 to A4 for routine, X1 to X5 for non-routine, with supporting details such as tank name, volume, time, date, and location. The chief officer and master are jointly responsible for ensuring that the BWRB reflects actual onboard operations and complies with regulatory requirements. It must always be kept up to date and ready for inspection by port state control, flag state, class, or internal auditors. Incomplete or inaccurate entries may lead to detentions, deficiencies, or penalties. This section also invites the crew to ask questions or raise real-world scenarios, reinforcing the importance of practical understanding and team accountability. The goal is to empower crew members to confidently maintain the BWRB, ensuring both legal compliance and environmental stewardship. That brings us to the end of video's training on the Ballast Water Record Book and its importance in ensuring compliance with the BWM Convention and the latest IMO Circular BWM.2/Circular 80/Revision 1. I'd like to sincerely thank all of you for your attention, watching, and listening to this video. Remember, accurate and timely recording of ballast water operations is not just a paperwork task. It is a key part of our commitment to safety, environmental protection, and regulatory compliance. The records you keep directly reflect our vessel's professionalism and readiness for inspection at any time, whether by port state control, flag state, or class surveyors. Please ensure that all entries are made correctly, codes are used appropriately, and supporting details are always included. When in doubt, refer to the BWMP or reach out to your senior officers. Let's continue to uphold the highest standards on board. Thank you again, and let's keep the ocean clean and our ship compliant. If you have any final questions, please write in the comment below. I will reply to your comments if any inquiry.